It's April 15th. We got more very, very end of the season NHL games, which always has unique and usually very profitable betting value. Of course, we've got MLB beginning of the season, which usually has unique and profitable betting value, and two NBA play-in games. I don't know how to find value with that, but our comment section probably can. Tune in, everyone.
Yeah, I'm so fresh like the morning. Mouth wide open like they yawning. Every time they see me, they in G-Strike. Homie, this is too far. Homie, I feel too alive. You can see me like Illuminati. You can see me like Illuminati. But I'm trying to...
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Post Sports Radio. April 15th. Last week's show, the Monday show, was very good. Monday traditionally has been my best day of the week as far as handicapping and betting is concerned by far. Wednesdays, hopefully I'll be able to repeat it, and hopefully with comment section. Shout out to everyone in the comment section. Old E, great to see you, man. Truth teller, man. Man, we nailed Seattle, didn't we? In the Super Bowl, we nailed it. Truth teller, we got it. You and me, pal, and Corky, and a few others as well. We nailed that shit. All right, we're gonna have not a huge slate today, so a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more times per game. We will have to talk about it. The NBA play-in games are very interesting. When we get to that part, please let me know what you think, because I don't have a great read on the NBA play-in games, aside from maybe star player over props. They're going to win or lose with their star players, but like LaMelo Ball had, I strongly suspected that his points prop was going to be a good bet in that game. Yeah, of course, OT helped the props in that one. But all right, we're going to get into it. We're going to have a nice little hour here, break everything down, and once again, we have a very, very tail end of the NHL season lines and situations, which we did great. On the Monday show, Jimmy the Bag's been killing it and killing the line moves on those kinds of games, and we got 6 more tonight. I think are going to be interesting and probably profitable. Love it. Love betting on shit when people have nothing to play for. Nasty Nate. Shout out to Nasty Nate. Oldie, Swiggy Bets, everyone. Okay, let me just get my notes up here, and we will get into it. Of course, it is Shohei Ohtani Day. A lot of interesting crap. Everyone ready? You got your notes? I'll give you 10 seconds to get your notes all ready. Shout out to Yankee JJ 1989, baby. Nasty Nate says Pete's mustache came with a used heart. Nasty. Oh, no. Nasty Nate, he's got some good one-liners. He does. He's not wrong, I like the way I look. I think I look cool. Some people disagree. You should have seen what some of my relatives said about my look. They just don't get it. I hope they're having fun in life, though. All right. And let's go. Let's get into it. First game on the card, Cubs-Philly. All right, comment section. Tell us what you think about all this. Imanaga and Luzardo. Of course, this has been a very high-scoring series. The weather at Philly has been very hitter-friendly. And so once again, the total open modest, very low at 8.5. I think juice to the over. Both Imanaga and Luzardo are big names. Imanaga, his last 2 starts were great. This one could be tougher, and he is a fly ball pitcher. Luzardo, big name historically, but he's gotten pounded both of his home starts this year so far. He is still, racking up a ton of strikeouts. So that's a good sign for him. And Philly was a modest favorite when the first line I saw was like minus 135 or so. Again, the total is 8.5, juice to the over. And I don't know, I guess the no-brainer way to look at this is just to take an over again, one way or another. If Luzardo gets pounded again, I think Imanaga is going to be vulnerable here in a way that he wasn't in his last 2 starts. And then you got the bullpens and a low total. So I didn't take a shot with this game. Maybe the no-brainer thing to do would just be taking the over, and I left money on the table by not slamming it on the opening line. Just makes me a little bit nervous. Luzardo is getting strikeouts. He has big upside. Imanaga is who he is. This is going to be a tougher start for him, I think. Fly ball pitcher, big hitting weather, but he's still excellent, and don't necessarily want to bet on him having a bad start. So, at the first line I saw, Philly minus 136, Cubs plus 120 or whatever. My note here is gotta lean Cubs. Why not? Seems pretty coin flippy. And maybe again the over is a no-brainerish thing that I passed on. Look at the line moves here, and then we will look at the comments section, and then we'll move on. Let's see. Here we go. What do we got here? Yeah. Yeah, looks like the bigger bets were on the over. About 80% of the tickets on the under. All right, I don't know if these, money numbers are correct. That surprises me. 80% of tickets on the under. Public is pounding the under on this one with their small bets. Okay, that surprises me. Only 50% of the money here, according to what I'm looking at right now, on the under. So that means that 20% of the tickets and 50% of the cash is on the over, which is what I would have thought. And the line, of course, has gotten bet up a little bit, up to about 9. Some places juice to the under, some places not. Some places 8.5 and more juice to the over. All right. And as far as the side is concerned, not much move I'm seeing here. Philly's still about like a -130 to -140 favorite. Let's see what Circa in particular has to say about all this. Let's see. Yeah, according to Circa here, about 80% of the tickets on the under, but only half the cash on the under. So bigger bets coming in on the over. Surprises me that 80% of the tickets, public betting bets, are on the under. That really surprises me. As far as the side is concerned, a very, very, very almost imperceptible market move towards the Cubs, which I would agree with. All right, I think I'm going to pass on this one. Let's see if anyone in the comments section has anything on this one. Shout out to Oldie. Shout out to Slaughter. Yankee JJ 1989 over 8.5. Got it earlier. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, this one might be another 13-run game, and I'll be sitting there being like, man, why did I overthink it? Why did I overthink it? I definitely, Luzardo probably is going to get his strikeouts, but it'll be a shock if he, has a lights out game. I think Imanaga is going to be vulnerable here, much more so than his first 2 starts. And okay, I hope you cash. You're probably on the wrong side, on the right side, and I did the wrong thing by passing on it. Okay, now let's move on. Next game on the card: KC in Detroit. Lugo against Flaherty. Lugo pretty much his usual self, solid, very good, reliable. Flaherty's been iffy. He's had walks issues so far. KC's clearly slumping offensively, and Detroit has won 4 in a row on their current homestand. They beat KC 2-1 yesterday. And, I'm not exactly, Flaherty, always a bit of a wild card. He has high upside and a low floor. And he did settle down pretty well in his last start after a shaky start. So I definitely don't think that the Flaherty is going to get crushed here, especially since KC is, clearly slumping offensively. It's not, it's cool weather and a little bit of rain and precipitation possibly. So Flaherty probably should be okay. Lugo should be okay. First total I saw was like 8, juiced a little bit to the under. I was leaning under on that one, and definitely thinking that good pitching props, good props for starters to have good starts might be worth a shot. I definitely took a small shot with Flaherty over 4.5 strikeouts, actually, about -135 or so. Even he's one of those guys where even when he has a subpar start, he sometimes does get good strikeout numbers anyway. So I took a shot with Flaherty over 4.5 strikeouts, -135. Definitely leaning KC first half just because first 5 just because Lugo is more reliable, and definitely took another shot with the old reliable when Lugo is chugging, which is the under 2.5 earned runs prop. It's just -120. I haven't checked where that prop has moved, but Lugo under 2.5 earned runs, -120, and Flaherty over 4.5 strikeouts, -135 or so. I took both of those, and Detroit first 5 team total under might be good, although I didn't check the number. I didn't bet that one. It's probably 1.5, but although I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so definitely leaning under in general here. Lugo, I think more reliable than Flaherty for sure, but Flaherty I think will be probably not too bad, and Lugo to have another solid, good quality 6-inning start, and Flaherty to get some strikeouts are are probably in the cards. Let's see where this line moved, if any, if at all, and then we'll look at the comments section, see if anyone has anything to say about it. Shout out to everyone. Nice relaxed pace here. Well, all right, there you go. Shows how much I know. Looks like it's gotten bet up to 8.5. I'm surprised by that. Again, what do I know? First line I saw was 8, slightly juiced to the under. That is where it opened. And now it's up to 8.5, even juiced to the over. Pretty surprising. Okay. All right. And as far as the tickets are concerned here that I'm seeing, about 60% of the tickets and 60% of the money on the under. But a half run, more than a half run, slightly more than a half run move to the over, which is surprising and probably telling. That is definitely sharp money there. As far as the side is concerned, no real interesting splits here. Looks like a very small market move towards KC. Let's check Circa specifically. Love Circa. Yeah. About a 5 or 10 cent move towards KC, which I would vaguely agree with, although I would definitely be much more agreeing with that first 5 than full game. And looks like here the bigger bets are on KC, about 2/3 of the tickets and about 85% of the cash on KC. So that makes some sense. And I don't know what to tell you. Look at that half run, even a little bit more than a half run move to the over. Let's see. Look at the comment section. Does anyone have any explanation for that? Shout out to Truth Teller. Shout out to Solution. We love you, Low Shack. Love you too, Solution. Maybe Homo. No, we don't make those jokes anymore. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Head scratching half run move to the over. I don't get it. It's all right. I still like Flaherty over 4.5 strikeouts and Lugo under 2.5 earned runs. A little bit concerning though. All right, let's move on. Next game on the card is San Francisco Cincinnati. Molly against Louder for Cincinnati, and San Francisco lost 3 in a row. Definitely slumping offensively. Cincinnati 1-2-1 yesterday. Still not really great overall as a team. Molly, of course, used to pitch for Cincinnati, so he's familiar with this park. And I took a shot with Molly over 4.5 strikeouts at like minus 115 or so. I do think he'll be a little bit vulnerable here. I don't think he'll necessarily have a great start, but good start or bad. I think he'll probably, it's more likely than not to get a few strikeouts. So I took a shot with Molly over 4.5 strikeouts at about minus 115 or so. And then Louder is interesting. He has a high upside, of course. He was a very high draft pick. I forgot who it was who was drafted first before him, but it was some stud. I forgot who it was. And he was the second pitcher in that draft. And he, has high upside. His first 2 starts, were very good this year. He got hit in his last start at Miami. But when a guy with, a very high draft pick with high upside starts to, stack multiple quality starts in a row, that's usually something that I expect roughly to continue. So I was thinking about Louder under 5.5 hits. San Francisco, they do kind of seem to be getting hits on the road, not really putting it together as far as runs are concerned. But yeah. And, I definitely do like that at least a little bit. Louder under 5.5 hits, minus 115 or so. Even though the San Francisco lineup, I'm a little bit uncertain about right now. But those two looks are things that I'm liking right now. San Francisco was a very small favorite at the opening line, and total was 8.5, juice to the over. Let's look at what line moves we've seen here. What line moves there have been. Looks like the total has gotten bet up about a half run, up to about 9, even 9.5, juice to the under at some places. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Not quite sure I agree with it, but it doesn't surprise me. And then, 3/4 of the tickets and about 70% of the money on the under. And despite that, about a half run move to the over. All right. The over's that move was probably caused by a significant sharp action somewhere. Again, not quite sure I agree with it though. The bigger bets though are clearly coming in on San Francisco. About 60% of the tickets about 40% of the tickets on San Francisco, but about 2/3 of the money on San Francisco. And the line, let me see it. No, yeah, hasn't really moved though. Hasn't really moved that much. Let's see. Let's click there. Yeah, if anything, a small move towards. Yeah, not much market movement towards Cincinnati, but for what I'm seeing here, the bigger bets, but a clear uh move to the over. Although Circa came back down, Circa got up to 9.5, and then it came back down, and that makes sense to me. I don't, I understand if there was a sharp money on the over that caused a move to 9.5 market wide, but I don't really agree with it. And now it's down back down to 9 at Circa. So we'll see how it turns out. Just those two props that I do like. Oh, shout out to Gorky. Shout out to Gorky. Let's see. Nine Legacy says I just heard Tampa Bay has not won a game on April 15th in 15 years. All right. So we know what to do there, I guess. Shout out to everyone. Great to see everyone in the comment section. Just my 2 cents. Sweetie Bets and Spoons Bets. Shout out to you, Spoons Bets. I'm shouting out a lot of kind of chaotic stuff here, Spoons Bets. But yeah, my pitching props stuff is stuff that I do bet. I feel kind of confident in. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's move on. Next game on the card. Washington and Pittsburgh. Man, this is a tough one because, Pittsburgh, a big favorite here, which I guess makes sense because Irvin is starting for Washington. He's so bad, but Pittsburgh is rolling, right? They're 4-1 on their current trip. They got a 5-4 win yesterday, and the only guy who beat them was Skeens, and now Washington is, Pittsburgh a big favorite, Washington a big dog. Didn't quite make sense to me. Irvin's pitching props are what you would expect. 15.5 juice to the under, and his earned run prop was 3.5 juice to the under, but still, I don't know if Pittsburgh has that fearsome of a lineup to justify that, but yeah, should be about 80 degrees and about 30% precipitation, so decent hitting weather. And Pittsburgh, from what I saw, they're going to have an opener, Montgomery, and then Zinski, the primary guy, and he is pretty good. So yeah, at minus 130, I'd be liking or maybe loving Pittsburgh. At minus 180, I don't know about that. One thing I was thinking about, I don't know if you caught it last game, but I said, what was it? Was it the A's? There was one game that I said maybe bet on them live after the starting pitcher went out, and it definitely. Oh, it was the team was playing the Yankees. I forgot who the hell was playing the Yankees. I forgot who it was, but that did. The Yankees wound up winning, but they were up like 4-0, and they only wound up winning by 1. And here we have, I think, a very similar situation. I would, if Irvin gets hit and the Pittsburgh pitchers are doing well, I would strongly consider betting Washington after Irvin is out. Not really sure what's going on with Irvin. He has walks issues. He's been getting strikeouts this year, but he hasn't in his career. So, I'm just thinking about maybe a look at Washington live if Irvin does get touched and the Pittsburgh starters are good and Washington is down and you're getting a big number on everything for them. All right, let's look at the line moves here on this one. Yeah, not much move as far as the side is concerned. Really, looks like about 3/4 of the bets and about 80% of the money on Pittsburgh, which is, I guess I would expect that. Not really a big market move there, and the total, another move to the over. Look at that. Now it's up to 9.5, juice to the under, but still some money coming in on the pressure to the over. So yeah, almost a half run move to the over from opening to current at Circa, and almost nothing on this side. Very, very tiny move towards Pittsburgh. And according to this, at Circa, much bigger bets on Washington. According to this, a third of the bets and 70% of the money on Washington. But that's just at Circa. And despite that very tiny market move towards Pittsburgh. All right. Yeah, I would vaguely agree with Washington being too big of a dog here. But I definitely agree that Irvin is questionable at best and ass possibly at worst. And if I was going to bet Washington, I'd probably which I probably will do that, wait to see and then live bet Washington. All right, let's look at the comment section and then we'll move on. Hopefully we're not lagging too much here. We do have to keep a crisp. Yeah, Spoons Bet says Washington bullpens looked like someone did their fantasy. It didn't realize you needed relievers. Right. But if you're getting a huge dog line from Washington, I think their lineup is, it depends how big the dog line is and what's going on. All right. Shout out to AM. There you go. AM likes Pittsburgh minus 1.5 at like plus 118. Yep. Yep. Okay. So it does make sense then, according to AM, for the Pirates to be this big of a favorite. And yeah, and I'm sorry, and Pirates first five was definitely something that I was uh, I was thinking about as well, and I might bet that one. All right, next game on the card, the Angels and the Yanks. Heel is starting for the Yanks. His first start at Tampa Bay was not good. We did talk about that, you know, this could be better, but still, he comes with a lot of question marks. Kochanowski, last two starts were awesome, although he had 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, only gave up 2 hits, and he should come back down to earth at some point. The Yanks, though, just 1-6 in their last 7, and the Angels are really hitting on their current road trip. So that Yankees game, the one on Monday, they were a big favorite. People were liking that. They did come back and snag it by a run at the very end, but it was definitely a sweat. And this one I was thinking about early overs. Running the first, yes, and my first 3 and first 5 over as well. Both starting pitchers with some question marks here. Should be again, low 80s at Yankee Stadium, small tiny wind out, and 2 starting pitchers coming with some question marks. Angels are hitting, Yanks are hitting, should be hitting more. So yeah, running the first, yes, and early overs, first 3 and first half. All right, let's see. Let's look at the lines here, comment section, and we'll move on. Let's see, where are we? Here we go. Yeah. So yeah, very small move towards the Angels, which makes sense. The Yankees, all things considered, should not be this big of a favorite. And huge bets coming in on about a third of the tickets and almost 3/4 of the money on the Angels. So bigger, sharper bets pushing that line down, which I would agree with. And the total has gone up almost a full run. It is a full run from opening, from 9.5 up to 10.5, which does make sense, but Yankee Stadium can get weird and run suppressing at times, and I think that that runs early is a better way to look at it. So again, running the first, yes, first 3, first 5 over, and yeah, could only take the Angels here at the current lines. Let's look at the comment section and let's move on. Jermaine liking Angels -1.5. Yeah, in games like these, I definitely, if there's a dog that I think has a good fighting chance, a lot of times there's better value. Absolutely, we're talking about volatility there, right? Because if the Angels win, they probably win by 2 or more than they're charging you for it. So good look there, great look there. I totally agree with it, Jermaine. 34. All right, next game on the card: Miami and Atlanta. Paddock against Elder. Elder's been good overall so far, but he will definitely have his duds. And I did have his outs prop under in his last start, which cashed. He's good. He's a solid pitcher, but he's going to have duds thrown in. And Paddock crushing his first start, better in his last 2. Not quite sure what to make of him. He's been getting strikeouts this year, but in recent years he has not gotten strikeouts. Not been a strikeout pitcher, and this one, also again, mid 80s, 8 or 10 mile an hour wind out. Miami definitely picking it up offensively in this park, and Atlanta's decent. So this is also one where I was thinking maybe running the first and leaning first 5 over, and also a slight lean to Paddock over 5.5 hits at about -120 or so. A lot of these, of course, pitcher props in general, there's a lot of volatility involved, especially hits props, because batting average on, balls in play is a lot of randomness there. But, slightly into Paddock over 5.5 hits, -120 or so. I did take a shot with that. Not sure what to make of Paddock's expected strikeouts going forward, because he is striking out a lot more guys right now. I'll look into it more a little bit, hopefully in upcoming days and weeks. And Atlanta, big favorite here. At this line, my note is got to lean Miami, even though Elder has been good. Let's look at the line moves, and then we'll go to the comments section. Where are we? Where is this game? Atlanta, Miami. Where is it? Can't find it. All right, maybe we won't look at. Oh, there it is. All right, okay. So yeah, not much moving here. The 70% of tickets, almost 80% of the money on Atlanta, which makes sense. And yeah, it has moved though. The first line I saw, yeah, well, not really. Maybe a few cents. Right around minus 170 market wide for Atlanta right now. And the total though, as expected, gotten bet up a little bit. First line I saw was 8.5, about 120 or 125 or so. Now it's up to 9, juice to the under at some places, 8.5 minus 130 to the over. That makes sense. And again, I also, even though Elder's been good and Paddock has been good in his last two, kind of like overs early. Agree with that. All right, so let's to the comment section and then we'll move on. Old E has, I'm on Miami here and I like it. For me, it would be Miami or nothing. And another one where maybe Miami minus 1.5 has some more value. High volatility with Elder because he will give you, those really nice 5-6 inning shutout starts and then throw in some 3 inning 8-run starts in between. You know what I'm talking about, Old E. You've been capping baseball and Elder for a while. You know what I'm talking about here. Yeah. Marlins first 5 team total over. Old E likes that one. All right. I would definitely agree with those looks as well. All right. Next game on the card, Tampa Bay and the White Sox. Schultens is starting for Tampa Bay. He's a weird guy. He's one of these, he's like in his 30s, was never really good enough to make it to the show. But this year, great in one appearance in the majors and great in one minor league appearance. Very little major league experience. So maybe he's going on a short run of excellence. And of course, Tampa Bay, a great program. They get the best out of everyone. And they might be doing that with him. They wouldn't have signed him if they didn't see something. And they wouldn't be sending him to the minors and now bringing him up if they didn't see something. So even though he's a 2-year-old guy who never had it enough to make the majors and stick, he might there might be something real to his 2 excellent appearances so far this year. And then Sean Burke for the White Sox, very good so far. No home run so far. Very good, an excellent strikeout to walk ratio. So the line was about even on both sides. Total was about 8, juice to the under, and I total pass on me for this one. I don't like fading Tampa Bay in general. Of course, they've been very scrappy this year. They're winning now. They're more often than not a good bet. Know how to manufacture runs and get the results that they want. But I am a believer in Sean Burke right now. He's been very good so far. Most of his starts, I expect him to be solid and decent. So I wouldn't want to fade him either. And the White Sox, of course, in general, not very good. So maybe would consider live betting Tampa Bay after the starters are out, especially if Burke is good and the White Sox are ahead and Schultz has given up some runs. So that's what I'm thinking about. Live betting Tampa Bay after the starters are out, depending on the situation. Let's look at the line movement. That is now it's Sulser for Tampa Bay. All right, so a pitching change. Okay, so there you go. Pitching change for Tampa Bay. All right, let's see if anyone in the comment section has anything to say. And then Bet on Range says looking for line moves. Yes, limits changing are the most important part of line movement. Of course. I will maybe incorporate that in future shows. Absolutely, Bet on Range, no doubt about that. I say that all the time. The main thing that matters is limits. That's what I would mostly want to know. All right, next game on the card is Toronto, Milwaukee. Cease against Chad Patrick. Cease, of course, great, getting a ton of strikeouts. Also having issues with walks, but getting a ton of strikeouts in general, excellent. Although not, quite lights out reliably, but without question, a stud. Then you have Chad Patrick on the other side, who's been excellent so far. I'm thinking he'll probably regress. Milwaukee has now lost 6 in a row, including the last game, which was like a crazy comeback win for Toronto. So I don't know if there's any psychological issues with Milwaukee going on right now, but at plus 110, I was definitely leaning Milwaukee, even if Cease is lights out. With his walks and strikeouts, he doesn't go deep a lot of times. He burns a lot of pitches. Toronto, scary team to bet against, but Milwaukee, solid offensively as well. Chad Patrick, I expect him to regress, but probably okay. So I was definitely, I did take a shot with Milwaukee at plus 110. Let's see if that line has moved. Let's see where it is right now. Where's the damn line? There we go. Let's see. Yeah, not really. A teeny move from when it got up to, first moves got up to towards Toronto. Now it's back down. Circa has Milwaukee at about plus 105. I would agree with that. I definitely think there's a small value on Milwaukee right now. And the total, it looks like not much movement, really. Right about where it was, bouncing around 7.5, but nothing noteworthy. I think there's small but solid value on Milwaukee as a home dog here. And let's see what the comment section has to say. All right, nothing on this one. And now let's move on. Colorado, Houston. I'll try to pick up the pace here a little bit, I think. Colorado, Houston, Quintana for Colorado against Arrighetti from Houston. Arrighetti, of course, was sent to the minors to start the year, but he was awesome at AAA, right? Low ERA, strikeouts, dealing, and Arrighetti, of course, has had lights out appearances in the majors, so he knows how to succeed at this level. Quintana had one appearance, didn't go well, went on the injured list, and now he's back. So this is a very high line for Houston, but it's justified, and I am a believer in Arrighetti here. Of course, Houston, they're getting by with their offense, bailing them out. Their bullpen is questionable and spent. So I wouldn't necessarily like Houston a full game here, but I do like I like Arrighetti pitching props over 15.5 outs at about minus 110 or so. I took that one. Arrighetti can be a guy who gets a lot of strikeouts and run up high pitch count, so he can easily have a 5-inning no hit start and then get pulled. But the outs prop was a little bit surprising to me. Over 15.5 outs for Arrighetti, minus 110 or so. I like that one. I also like, I took a shot with Quintana over 4.5 hits, minus 125. Quintana, kind of deceptively, not really as terrible as people might think he might be at times, but first appearance didn't go well. He's getting up there in age. He's coming off of the IL and going up against a productive lineup. So I don't really trust him here. So I definitely like Houston first 5, even at minus 180 or so. But more so like in Arrighetti outs over 15.5 outs and Quintana over 4.5 hits at about minus 125 or so. And I would also be leaning Arrighetti under 2.5 earned runs, even at a big favorite line. But Houston definitely has bullpen issues, so things could get a little bit crazy. And Colorado has a less terrible lineup than they have in years past, so they can be productive. They have lost all 5 games on their current trip. They also swept Houston and Colorado before that trip. So, Colorado is a big dog full game is not something I feel super comfortable betting against right now. But let's look and see where this line has moved, if any at all. Yeah, not much. Not much movement. Still around in the mid 170s, and a very, very looks like a tiny general market move to the under. Very tiny though. According to what I'm seeing right now here, bigger bets coming in on Colorado, about half the tickets and about 70% of the cash on Colorado. That's full game though. So, yeah, I mean, Quintana's a gamer. He's always kind of has been. He's always serviceable and keeps you in games, but I am a believer in Arrighetti here. Not quite a believer. Don't really trust Quintana. So those are the 3 things I'm liking. Houston first 5, Arrighetti over outs, and Quintana over hits. Let's look at the comments section. And AM's pointing out that Altuve and Pena are out of the Astros lineup today, which is not great, but it's okay. Really close, and AM says really close to moving on the Rockies Astros over 8. Looks like 2 vulnerable pitchers. Okay, you'd consider Arrighetti to be vulnerable? I wonder why. I mean, definitely, yes, a guy who's like lights out in the minors and then comes up is someone that I have, an asterisk next to. But Arrighetti's a guy who has had, sort of extended success in the majors before. So I'm willing to trust him here. All right. Next game on the card, MLB, Seattle, San Diego. And then we got 2 more, and then we will move on. I have to pick up the pace a little bit here. Hancock and Vasquez. This one, I didn't, no bets here and no real strong opinions. It was roughly even on both sides. Total was 8. Hancock's been great so far. He did give up 3 in his last start. Vasquez has been awesome so far. How long will that last? He's been getting strikeouts now. Historically, he hasn't. Hancock kind of the same, now getting strikeouts, and historically hasn't. Seattle slumping on the road so far this year, not hitting. They should be a lot better, and at some point, I'm sure they will be. not totally convinced that this is the game where that's going to happen, but they have names in the lineup. They should get a lot better. I guess free play, I'd put it on San Diego at minus 110 or so, I guess. But other than that, no real opinions. Let's see if the market has anything to say here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe a little bit of pressure towards Seattle, which I can understand. And as far as the total is concerned, what I'm seeing right now is, wow, from what I'm seeing, almost all the tickets on the under, which I would understand, but the majority of the cash on the over. And yet, total's gone down a little bit from the very first opener. So not sure what to make of all that. And let's look at the comments section. Wager Detective. Shout out to Wager Detective. All right. Giving NBA stuff, which we will get to very soon. Next game on the card is Texas against the A's. Kumar Rocker against Ginn. And Rocker has been not great, but not terrible in 2 starts so far this season. Ginn is decent in short appearances. The A's won 2-1 yesterday, so it's a rubber game. Another one. The lines look about right to me. I was leaning under the first line I saw, which is 9.5 juice to the over. Both starters are no great shakes, but pretty high total. Not great hitting weather for this game so far, and so I was leaning to the under on this one, but I didn't make any bets on this one, and I probably am going to pass. We will look at the line moves and any money stuff here, which is always fun to look at. Enjoyable as hell. Don't forget, this should be enjoyable, everyone. You might make money, you might lose money. It should be enjoyable. According to Circa, the bigger bets here seem to be on Sacramento, on the A's. And the line has moved about 5 cents or so from the very first opening in their favor. Okay. Yeah. Nothing for me. Look at the comments section. And Jermaine likes the A's team total over 5.5. Okay. All right. I can dig it. Kumar Rocker, not great, not terrible. The A's do have line. I am in general looking for spots to bet on their lineup, and their lineup this year, of course, very high volatility. They've gotten shut out or putting up double digits, multiple games. So high volatility with the A's, and I definitely do like their lineup in general. I hope you cash, Jermaine, because I'm not on that game one way or the other. Last game on the card, another one I passed on: Mets against the Dodgers, Holmes against Ohtani. And Holmes and Ohtani should both be okay here, but, maybe some injury questions for both of them. Holmes has been awesome, but he did have a hamstring issue in his last start, and hamstring issues, of course, can linger. Ohtani, of course, lights out so far, but he did get hit, by a fastball in his right shoulder, 2 days ago. Probably he'll be okay, but it's definitely something to take note of. Mets, of course, really slumping offensively. Dodgers winning at home, although not with lower scoring games on the road. Their offense has been explosive. They've won 4 out of 5 of their current homestand. The first 2 against Mets were very low scoring, and this one, feel uncomfortable about betting this game any which way. The injuries, which probably don't matter at all, are something that's still there, and it's going to be a pass for me. Quickly look at the see if there's any notable money or line moves here, and then we'll move on. We're gonna have to keep a little bit more of risk pace, keeping an okay pace. Yeah, not much movement. A tiny move at Circa to the under, and a small move at Circa towards the Mets, which makes sense. At that big of a dog line with home starting, makes sense. But total pass for me. All right. Now let's move on. So what are we doing? I'm not sure if we're doing NBA next or NHL next. Throw up a graphic, and whatever it is, that's what we'll do. NHL or NBA, baby. Next shit. Okay, NBA play-in game. Tell us what you think, because I really don't have an opinion on either of these games. I didn't bet them. I probably won't unless someone I like or respect gives me some information that I think is actionable. First game, Orlando, Philly. It feels like Philly has a higher ceiling in general than Orlando, right? Feels like they have a better vibe in general surrounding the team. Orlando did win 5 in a row leading up to the last game at Boston, which is kind of a bad loss when the pressure was on. Now Philly has the home court advantage here. And, loser here, they play Charlotte. And the winner goes on into the series against Boston. I was thinking that the first quarter under at about 55.5 or so was worth a shot for various reasons. That's the only thing that I was thinking about. And in general, my sense is that that things are looking more up for Philly right now than Orlando. So with a free play on the side, I definitely would have put it on Philly -2. Let's look at any line moves here, any stuff here, and then we'll look at the comment section, see if you guys have anything to say. Yeah, all right. So look, I'm looking at like 1.5 now, market wide. Okay, that's fine. And the total has gotten bet up a couple of points. Sure, that's full game. Now it's like 223.5 or 224 or so. And yeah, all right. So yeah, kind of bounced around. Looks like at one point it got up to 2.5, then dropped to 2, then dropped to 1.5. So very small market pressure towards Orlando, and a solid move to the over. Got up to 224 at some places, and then back down to 223, but opened to like 221.5 or so. So clearly a market like the over from opening up until now. But you know what? I'll go on the record and say I think that that first quarter under probably okay. I'm assuming the first quarter right now would be 56 or so, 56.5. I think the first quarter under probably worth a small shot. And let's see what Wager Detective has to say about this one. A lot. We will have 18 minutes more. A lot. Let's see. What is Wager Detective liking here? After further review, Wager Detective solidly leans with the Orlando Magic +2. Okay. And that is the way the market has gone. So you can read all of his we don't have time to read everything he posted. Thanks, Wager Detective, for posting all that. Wager Detective liking Orlando +2. You might be able to still get that somewhere. I'm seeing 1.5s mostly. And Wager Detective also likes the under 224.5 as well. So Wager Detective going against the market move since opener. And I think that first quarter under is worth a nice little play as well. Huge shout out to Wager Detective. Thanks for being here. Thanks for posting everything. Let's see if he's got anything on the second game, the tougher game, I think, which is Golden State and the Clippers. Clippers are 9 seeds. This is a do or die game, right? They actually played each other in their last game. The Clips won 115-110 in that one, but Kawhi Leonard was out. And, both teams were kind of subpar ATS down the stretch. Golden State takes and makes a lot of three-pointers. So there's a lot of volatility involved with their games. And I was thinking maybe Golden State team total over at like 108 or so. Maybe Golden State first half. But who knows? With Golden State, if the threes are falling, they'll be up by 8. If they're not, they could easily be down by 12. And so let's see what people have to say. Oh, now Wager Detective took him 2 hours to get that one. I trust it, man. Orlando. I might tail that one just for the hell of it, Wager Detective, just because of what you said. He's gonna dig in, and he posted on X. Everyone follow him on X, Wager Detective, what he has to say about the second game. Let's see if there's been any notable line movement here. Yeah, okay. From opener towards the Clippers, the very, very first line was like 4.5 up to 5.5. Looks like it's still might even move to 6. Very, very tiny pressure to the under, it looks like here. 221 is where it opened. Got up to 222. Now took a drop to 220.5. That's probably when the limits went up. So yeah, interesting game. Going to be a pass for me. Free play, I'd throw it on Golden State first half, like +3 or 3.5 or something like that. All right, let's look at the comment section. Huge shout out to Wager Detective. Okay. Now we got 6 NHL games. I love this time of year for all sports, and especially NHL, where almost every team has nothing to play for. And let's dig in. First game, Dallas and Buffalo. Both these teams' playoff spots are locked in. The Sabres clinched the Atlantic when they beat Chicago. Jimmy the Bag was on that one. Shout out to Jimmy the Bag. This one was about first line Buffalo, a teeny favorite. And I think I would have a small lean to the under on this one at 6. Even though they have nothing to play for, I think they're just going to skate it out, and a small lean to Buffalo. That's what I was thinking about. Small lean to under 6 and small lean to Buffalo at like minus 115 or so. And let's see if there has been any. Wow, look at that. Huge move towards Dallas. So that's because here, let me pull up the goalies, of course, because of who's in and who's out. So huge move towards Dallas. Okay, that's probably right. Let's see. And as far as the total is concerned, pretty much nothing. I'd be leaning under. I'm not giving out. We don't have time to give out, official picks here, which does kind of suck, and quote the line shopping and all that stuff. But yeah, I will give an official. That's what I'm kind of liking to the under at 6. Let's see. Ottinger. Ottinger's in for Dallas. Okay, Colton Ellis in for Buffalo. So that tells you all you need to know. Lean under for sure at 6. Let's see what other people have to say. All right. Next NHL card is Rangers and Tampa Bay. This one, I think I'm liking the over, of course. Last Rangers game was the Jonathan Quick finale. Jimmy the Bag and I both like the over in that one. It wound up 3-2. Florida wound up playing defensively and wound up being a defense-oriented game, which I realize is probably what was. Later on, I realized that might have been a mistake. Thinking about that, it's Quick's last game, it was retirement and everything. So I was like, yeah, that was a mistake there. Lightning, of course, have clinched second place in the Atlantic. They're going to play Montreal in the first round playoff series at home this weekend. And the Rangers, of course, terrible season. They were all fucked up mentally at home earlier in the year. And then as soon as the season was over, they brought up young guys. Of course, they started winning and scoring and playing with some heart and some fight. So Tampa Bay was a big favorite here, like minus 175 or so. And I definitely did hit the over 6. I hit the over 6 on this one when it came out. Vasilevsky is likely. I'm seeing him likely. They have Dylan Garand, that guy, in for the Rangers. Vasilevsky is likely, but I think it's going to be a relatively, just free-flowing game. Play, get it over with, put some goals in for the fans, and I like the over in this one. Let's see what's happened as far as total's gotten bet up about 10 cents. Now it's like 6 minus 120 or so, and I agree with that. Definitely liking the over. And as far as the side, Tampa Bay, they were a big favorite, crashed all the way down to like almost even, and now all the way back up. Tampa Bay is now a big favorite again, because Vasilevsky's in, and depending on who's in. So I understand that. Right now, though, free play, I'd put it on the Rangers at that big of a dog, but definitely didn't bet it. And I do like the over a little bit. See if anyone in the comments section likes this one. All right. Shout out Wager Detective. Next NHL game on the card is Detroit and Florida. Both these teams out of the playoffs, of course. Florida does seem like they're still playing hard. Why was Detroit a favorite? I was thinking definitely. I took a shot with the Florida team total over at 2.5. Let's look at this one. Yeah, I got Gibson and Tarasov. I like the over in general. I did bet the Florida team total over. Couldn't quite explain why Florida was a dog. Let's see what has happened to this line here. Yeah, because of who's in, who's out. They knew that there were going to be guys out for Florida, and now Detroit is a huge favorite here, up like minus 155 or so. Florida on the other side is plus 140, and the total has gotten bet from 6 up to 6.5. So that total is probably still worth a shot, although I would probably try to buy down to 6 or so. But yeah, I was liking the over, liking Florida team total over even after the move, and both teams nothing to play for. So I'll say I still like the Florida team total over, and I also was definitely leaning over the 6 at minus 115, and I still like it even after the move. All right, next game on the card. Let's look comment section. Shout out Jimmy the Bag. Shout out Jimmy the Bizag. Nasty Mate says Sixers easy. Okay. So Nasty Nate and Wager Detective on opposite sides of that game. All right. Next game on the card, NHL, Toronto and Ottawa. Toronto lost 6 in a row, including their home finale in their last game. Will they come to play here? I mean, I wouldn't, but they might. Who knows? Ottawa lost their last game with big guys sitting out. Who's going to play here? Not exactly sure. I took a shot with the under at 6.5, under -115. Ottawa lost their last game, but all the big guys were out in that one. Stutzel, Kachuk, Sanderson, all those guys were out. And I didn't check who's playing, but I like the under anyway. Took a shot with it, under 6.5, -115. Obviously, Ottawa started as a huge favorite. And let's kind of feel like no matter who's playing for Ottawa, hard to see Toronto play. Yeah, and there you go. Now Ottawa is an even bigger favorite. Look at that. Up into the 200s. And wow, all right, the total has gotten bet up about 25 cents. We'll see. Let's see what happens. All the money on the over. I feel you. I can dig it. I'm thinking about the under here. I took a shot with it. Might be wrong. But and Ottawa just taking everything. Now up over 200. And I also took a shot with the Toronto team total under as well. That might be a better play than the under. Let's see what let's see. So yeah, Jimmy telling us who's out for Ottawa. So still liking the under and Toronto team total under. Shout out Dutch Boy Fresh. Man, Dutch Boy Fresh. That was fun hanging out with you, man. We should do that again. We have 9 more minutes here, so I got to keep a brisk pace. I didn't even notice your fashion sense until Spooner pointed it out to me. I was like, damn, I can't believe I didn't take a picture. I should have taken a picture of you and then a picture with you. I will copy. I will bite Dutch Boy Fresh's fashion style. All right, next game on the card, San Jose and Chicago. San Jose, they seem to have an okay vibe with them. Chicago, really bad, and they got booed in their last game. So are they going to bounce back here? Chicago is going to have a nice offseason, I think. Are they going to have a nice game here? Not exactly sure, but I think that at the very least, they're going to come to play a little bit. I took a shot with the Chicago team total over 2.5. San Jose might come to play here, but I was leaning over at 6.5. I did take a shot with the Chicago team total over, even though they pretty much have nothing. Let's see what Jimmy the Bag likes. Bedard Celebrini point. It's 135. And he likes the over. Yep, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. And I do think that Chicago, one way or another, will find a way to put a few in the net. This one, no real movement on the total, and I would agree with you. I like the over 6.5 and Chicago team total over. Small market, I guess. Not really. Almost no. What I'm seeing here is like 40% of the tickets and like 95% of the cash on Chicago, but there hasn't been a market move towards them. So who knows? I wouldn't want if Chicago's going to win this one. I would, I'd much rather have a bet on the Chicago team total over than the Chicago money line. But so I like both of those over, and the Chicago team total over is the one that I like much more. All right, let's see. How many more NHL games we got? One. This is it. This is the last NHL game. So we got a few minutes here. We can talk about it. Jason Meyer asking if we could have a Low Jack in the Bag show Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Hell yeah. I will find a way to do it. We'll do some fun shit. We'll figure out a way to do some fun shit one way or another. This is just the first week of this new format and everything. Just kidding. We'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way to do some fun shit. Seattle and Vegas. Obviously, Vegas rolling, and Vegas actually is a team that has something to play for. They with a win, they clinch the Pacific Division title. So, they do have something to play for here. And Seattle, they're still an NHL team. So when it gets up into this range of lines, the first line I saw was -285. At a certain point, I am one of those guys who says no, NHL team should be plus 400 or something. And Seattle's not terrible. They're not good, but they're not terrible. They might come to play, And Seattle did just beat Vegas last week at home, right? 4-3. So you could look at that and say, not only is Vegas playing for the Pacific Division title, but they have revenge on their minds. Or you could look at it and say, this Seattle team just beat this Vegas team a few games ago, so they have the ability to do that. Now they're on the road and getting a +2 whatever line, and that's just absurd. I like the over. I took a shot with the over, 6 minus 115. I took that. Vegas probably wins it, but no way I'd be taking them here at minus 300 or so. We'll check to see where the lines have moved, if at all. And look at that. It's up. Yeah. Okay. So Circa. Yeah. Not much movement on the line at Circa. No movement on the total. Some of these places are hanging 300s. Look at that. FanDuel, Caesars, Hard Rock, all up into the 300s now. Okay. I don't know what I would do with a free play, but no way I'm going to bet Vegas. Did take a shot with the over at 6. I think that's a nice little play there. Let's see what the comment section has to say. Jimmy says a Vegas regulation tie will clinch as well. Jimmy Bag says, I agree, P too expensive. I have Knights winning Pacific, hanging the balance side. Okay. I guess I'm a little bit surprised Jimmy the Bag didn't come in with a play on the over like I like it. Vegas is going to want to win. Seattle's going to want to win, but probably with offense, right? I think these guys are going to D up for this game. Vegas cares, and because Vegas cares, Seattle cares. But do they care defensively? I don't know about that. I like the over. I think the over is a nice little play there. Of course, Vegas could win. Seattle might just come in and not care at all. And Vegas wins 4-zip, 4-1, 5-zip, something like that. So maybe the Vegas team total over, even at like 4.5 at plus money or 3.5 juiced, is worth a shot. Yeah. My only question with the over is possible Seattle will come in and not care at all, and then you're going to need all 6 from Vegas just to get a push. But we'll see. None of these things are locks. Nice little NHL. I'm looking forward to the NHL playoffs. The NHL playoffs are fun and profitable in a different way than the very end of the regular season, but it's going to be fun as hell. I think we're going to have our usual NHL contest at Pub Sports Radio. It's going to be fun. Today's show was another fun one. I hope I watch it back and see that, the majority of my opinions and leans and whatever cashed. Hopefully they did. Shout out to everyone. Dutch Boy Fresh, Wager Detective, for breaking down the hell out of that NBA play-in game. Jermaine, and of course, Jimmy the Bag, Dutch Boy Fresh, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you on Friday.
The NHL regular season comes to an end this Thursday, April 16th. But the excitement is just beginning. Because now is the time for our Pub Sports Radio NHL playoff pool. And this year, Salty Pete and the great people at Harper Acres Cottages are adding a $500 salty bonus to our champion. That money does not go into our prize pool. It is a bonus on top of the prize pool sent directly to our winner. It is $100 to sign up. $4 is taken to cover costs. $96 goes into our prize pool. And as always, the top 10% get paid. All you have to do is put together a roster of 20 players from the 16 NHL playoff teams. You get 1 point for a goal, 1 point for an assist, and the capper who accumulates the most points over the Stanley Cup playoffs is our winner. Picks must be in by this Saturday, April 18th, the puck drop to our very first NHL playoff game. Do you have what it takes? The Stanley Cup is up for grabs. The salty bonus is up for grabs. Do you have what it takes to take out last year's champion? Me! Sign up now at pubsportsradio.com and get that cash.